starting. And we're live. Hey, welcome to the Rubber Ducky channel. This is going to be a wonderful live about the Cuss Road investigation. Let me mute this other channel. I know it's going to start. Wow, that sounded like music.
Yeah, it did.
That was strange. It sounded like old-timey music to me.
It was an ad starting on the YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we've got some RD researchers with us. Hi, Sammy. Or not? Did we lose Sammy?
Oh, hi there. Sorry.
You might have you ever done that where you have your mic muted but you don't
Yes,
know?
I was talking.
Yeah.
And then I realized it was muted.
That's funny. I do that quite often. Lily is the queen of keeping her mic muted. Thinks she's telling us something, and then she unmutes and she's like,
I'm having a whole conversation.
You usually are real quiet for a while to us, and then all of a sudden you're like, this whole time I've had my mic muted.
Like, why is everybody ignoring me?
Right. I've had it to where I'm like, hey, hello. I sound like I'm in a tunnel because I keep thinking it's going to come on and you guys are going to go, yeah.
No, my famous one is I'll be talking away, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll get to a point where then you should respond and there's no response. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, I got my headphones muted.
Right.
Yeah, so you're answering me. I just can't hear it.
We have BB on tonight. So it's a ladies' night so far. We're hoping Silkman will join us. You just never know. And one of these lucky times, if we get lucky enough, we'll have to do a live in the daytime so we can have Zoe on. She's getting a little more comfortable, but she's very shy and she's very hardworking. So a lot of the times she's doing things like this past week. What'd she do, girls?
How many of us? Library stuff.
Oh my God. So you guys.
That's a task, yeah.
That's a massive amount of files.
She went through the entire library and redid it.
Yeah.
What we mean by that is we're trying to streamline the library, and it's the Rubber Ducky Steven Avery Files.com library. And we're trying to streamline it for you guys so that it's easier to use. And it'll be user-friendly so that if you know you want a document, you can just go grab it. And one of the things that we all know about documents is it's usually based more on a timeline than the title. So we kind of know that we need a document pre-trial or after trial, so it's the date. But when you list it out in a normal fashion and it goes to sort it, it leaves the year jumbled up. And you get all the 2006s, 7s, 8s are all piled together. So he was kind enough to put the year first. So the files are documents are getting completely sorted. Now that's the first level. Now our next deal is this week we're going to be doing what's called streamlining the folders. So we're going to break it down to very, very select few folders, and inside the choices you make won't have as many folders. And it'll help all of us to be able to grab the stuff we need when we need it. So, okay. So that's what Zoe's been up to. But she's also helped us, as well as BB, Lily, Sammy, me, a bunch of us got on this.
Jeannie.
Yes, and Jeannie helped too.
And Allie.
Allie helped. Well, a lot of people helped because if you come into Discord, and you're in there quite a bit and you express that you want to be on projects more and you start showing, that you're involved in it and you're really being productive, they have a members area. It's free to anybody, but you have to kind of earn your badge, as they say, and show that you're serious. But once you get there, you get to go through the members only. And then what we do is we post what we're working on that week, and we'll post requests like, it'd be great if you guys could find us any pictures of Cuss Road. And look at the pictures we got, you guys. Some of them I have never seen, but 2 of them I've never seen before. How about you guys?
There was quite a few I'd never seen, yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, it was shocking that we have been in this case that long. And Dr. Silkman found one of them, one of the two that I had never seen, and he brought it into us too. And he has been working on his new project, so that's coming up soon. We're going to be
Which
doing
he says is almost done.
I know. Ooh, it's the EDTA moment.
I'm really excited for this one because I know that they took us for a ride on that.
Yeah.
I think they took us for a ride on the funny machine. Yeah. They gassed up with helium on that one or something serious. But yeah.
Well, where haven't they in this case?
You guys, I got to tell you what Silkman said. So this is for all the listeners to have a little chuckle on Dr. Silkman's expense, okay? So Dr. Silkman he gets all excited about his video and he's like, I'm trying to do his accent. It's terrible. I can't do it. He has a beautiful voice. I'm just going to murder it. But he's like, I can't believe they haven't done, no one has done this already. I said, well, excuse me, Dr. Silkman, but none of us are molecular biologists.
Right.
He's like, oh, yes, right. You know,
we can barely remember the initials for it.
Oh my golly, I just chuckled. I said, nobody can do it but you. So that really has me excited. I feel like we're having like a really good string of great information coming forward. But let's get over to the crowd and let's see what's going on. We're going to be talking about Cuss Road, but let's say hi to everybody first. Let's see. Hi, Lacey Ann. How are ya? And Lynette. Hey, Ducky, she says. Lyra, good to see you. She's got her hand waving. Lisa B. Hi, everybody. Or hi, all. Lynette. This is Spooky 67. Well, welcome. Oh, yeah, Gretchen? Not now. She thinks I'm on a live, but we're going to lie to her so she doesn't act up. Oh, she knows I'm on a live. Hold on. Okay, there. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, you might also want to let everybody know why we weren't on last night.
Okay, we'll get to that. So we have a reason why we didn't do a live last night. And we have a very, very, very good excuse. Okay, Sandy, I'll watch later. She's rewatching MaM too. That's awesome. Holly Sullivan says hello. I made it for actually chat. Holly. Kelly says hello. I won't be able to watch it at all at work, but we'll watch once it's reposted. Thanks for all you guys do. Love. Thank you, Kelly. David says, hello, RD. Watch them while I'm trucking. Well, we're with you. We're with you every mile. Hey, Sammy, you're on here and she's welcoming you all. How's that? That's called multitasking.
Yeah.
Lyra said, hi, Jeannie. Hi, Duckies. Hi, Jeannie. Jeannie, we got to do a special shout out for Jeannie Morrow because she was one of those that actually helped find some of the documents that we're going to be using or photos that we use in this. So that was great help. We got Trav, hello, from Fort Smith, Arkansas. Hey, Trav, how are you? Yeah, I've got family in Arkansas. And
I'm in Arkansas myself.
Yeah, Sammy's in Arkansas. Let's see. Lily's with us tonight. She's also moderating, so she'll be trying to keep up with, all kinds of good stuff. Jeannie says, great job on the videos, guys. Yeah, everybody contributed. Every single person. Dr. Silkman brought in video, brought in picture. Everybody did. Just everybody. And then let's see. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I'm on live though. I forgot my light. I'm getting in trouble. My son said I forgot to put the light on. I didn't put the I'm live light.
Oh, I thought we weren't supposed to have outside noise.
Oh, right. This is true. That was my bad. Lisa said we did a beautiful job on the video. Jeannie wants his brain for a day.
No kidding, Jeannie. Oh, goodness.
Join the club, yeah.
I think my head would hurt, though, because I don't think it's used to that much activity at once. And so I think it would be an aneurysm for me.
I asked him a few days back exactly what his credentials were.
Oh, my gosh.
Because I was posting his videos on Reddit for him. And when I was flabbergasted. I'm like, oh my God, if I were to be in front of him, I would be down having to bow down and worship him because he's a god.
He has extensive credentials. I have 100% trust. I've known his credentials for a while, and until he's ready to announce them, he offers people ways to find out his credentials, but just you can tell he wants people to pay attention and know that he knows what he's talking about because of the way he presents as well. So I love that about him, you know.
I find him very, very integrity. He has a lot of integrity, and I really, I have totally, thoroughly enjoyed all of his works.
I know. I get excited when he brings out videos, and he's got such a great sense of humor too.
He does.
Lacey Ann has asked a very good question. Now, the members area, we just added it to Discord this past week, and to get into it, Lacey, all you need to do go into the Discord link. If one of you ladies will post that on the chat for us, you'll hit that. When you get there, once you get there, you're just in the normal puddle chat part. Once you interact, we'll give you little, you know, bits of information we're looking for.
You didn't realize you knew her because she changed her name.
Oh. Well, you might already be a member then if you've already been working on cases.
No, but she, yeah.
Okay.
Didn't she used to be LL Grace?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, LL Grace, we can help you out. Just get on Discord, but you have to be hand walked in. So one of us has to come get you and literally push a button. And then once we do, you'll be able to go in and work on the stuff too. So it's real easy.
We kind of enjoy a little bit of interaction with everybody. And the more that we see someone has their own intensity and their own passion in this, then we offer them a way to get in there to start doing that.
She has, though, but she changed her name.
Yeah, she's an
actor. So I know that. I was just describing for everyone else, you know, the basics of how this operation is.
That works. That's good to explain it. Robert said, great video. Thank you, Robert. Paula's joining us. Paula Harris. Oh, I know, Robert. We do need a close-up pic. We're going to get to talking about Cuss Road here quick. Let's see. We'll read a few more comments, and I think we're caught up. Jennifer Manning says, great last couple of videos, RD. Love that you were. Yeah, that was fun with Paul and Eric Cossey and Capaldi. It was incredible, and Dr. Silkman was there. I don't know if anybody knows that Paul Capaldi did a live with all of us, but I will tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was one of those times where we all came. It was like that moment where everybody kind of feels solid with each other. It was just a lot of great passion was discussed, and it was really, really good. It was.
From the sidelines, listening to it, it was good. I was going, oh, nice point. Or even chuckling when you guys, you know, were making a funny point. It really flowed. It was very entertaining.
Well, you know, Paul Capaldi has got to be one of the best interviewers. He knows how to keep it flowing. He's very patient. He's a gentleman. And you kind of feel guided, and he puts a safety net for you. If you start to stumble, he'll jump in. Or if you feel like you need to make your point, he gives you room. So hats off to him. And then, you know, Eric Cossey is a very patient person and respectful. And then Dr. Silkman, of course, is very gentlemanlike as well and respectful. And, you know, I was a little bratty at times, but I thought I did pretty good for being just a, you know, housewife. I held my own in a couple points. I thought we all did really well. And I think we're increasing the power behind the wave in the water, you know? And in a whole, talking about the listeners, how much they're tweeting stuff, they're putting it on Facebook, they're working hard. We're starting to see a little bit more guilter interaction. They've got their second breath, they've got their second wind, and they're starting to rear up. So we definitely want to stay on top of stuff. You know, I want to tell you guys a little something before we really get rolling. When 2002 came along, everyone knew that Steven was going to get out of prison. They knew that he was innocent. It was 1 full year before the key was released of the lock. So we had a huge lull in the state's response, huge lull, and I think everybody felt like we are right now, what's happening next? But keep your chin up, because I'm telling you, this much movement, and wherever we focus our energy as a group, we focus a huge amount of energy on this, it just grows and grows and grows, and it just forces it. So it's about us standing together and not losing hope. And that's why we want to keep on topics like this and keep making waves in that water. Yes, I mentioned Dr. Suckman. Are you coming on to chat with us? We would love that. Let's see. Jeannie, I was so impressed with RD and Doc. I was cheering you on. You showed your stuff. I was proud of you. Thank you, Jeannie. Well, I'm proud of you guys. And I'm proud of Allie for helping us too. Sammy's one of the researchers, and Allie is her daughter, and she's become a researcher too. So it's becoming more and more like a real family here in trying to make this happen. Empower Building says, James Crane, there is a lot coming out from these videos and discussions. This is true. Dave Bagoda's with us. Hey, Dave.
Yeah, read what he has to say.
Fresh dirt on the jury. Supposedly, when the guy who had to leave because his daughter was in a car wreck, they told the rest of the jury he attempted suicide. I've heard of that. I have heard that. I can't remember where, but I have nothing to back it right now. But it's something I brought up last week that
I think that's why he quit being an admin in one of the groups, was because of that.
Zoe she has a project started way ahead of us, so it probably won't come out for a few weeks because we work on several projects in several different stages. And I know that the jury one got started last week, and Zoe's she's usually, our in situa person. She starts it and she gets the groundwork done. And I know she started jury boards. So Dave, we are definitely going to be addressing some of that to see if it's true or not, or what we can find out. So yes, and Dr. Silkman has two projects, and one's in tow of the other. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we have part 1 and part 2, but they're separate things, but they're both connected. So you guys are going to have to watch that. That's coming up this week. So we're going to start the week off really big. And this daily read that we had this past week was insane. We got to get to that. Everybody wants to talk about Earl, I'm sure, and possibly Orville Jacobs. Let's see. What was his name? Jeannie, whose name, love? Oh, the juror's name.
I don't remember. I can picture his face, but I don't remember his name.
Oh,
yeah, it was I heard it was
more.
I heard that the stress was getting so bad, he had made some comments, and it was his verbiage that made them think that he was suicidal. Not that he had attempted it or anything like that. That his verbiage, the language he used came across as sounding suicidal. Whether that's true or not, that could have, that's where we'll go. We'll dig into it. Maybe it was something that they used against him to get him out of the jury pool. Who knows?
Right.
Out of the jury, so we can dig into that. That's a whole nother video, as they say, a whole nother rabbit hole.
His name was Richard Muller.
Muller.
Yeah, Richard Muller.
Yep.
Okay, very good. We'll definitely dig. We'll dig. Does anyone know if Earl smoked back in 2005? That's a great question, Susan. I've been wondering that too. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Want to see death certificate. Jeannie, we've got 2 death certificates. I've got Teresa's death certificate. And don't we have Carmen's too?
No, we have, isn't it Christine Rudy's?
Yeah, we have Christine Rudy's. I knew we had 2. Whoa, I got to get back onto live chat. Something happened and it's all screwy. I can't keep up. Attempted to discredit him because he was a holdout.
Probably.
Yeah, Dave. And Dave's talking about the juror, Richard.
Yeah,
so, Muller. Yeah.
Let me tell you something though. I was in a jury one time, and we were on a trial, and it had to do with the mobsters, and I didn't agree with some of what they were voting. And I'm going to tell you what, the pressure is unbelievable when people want to have a majority to vote the same way and you don't agree.
Yeah, because can you imagine what it would have been like? It would have been like, okay, let's say you guys are innocent. We'll play a game right now. We're going to be in the jury. We're going to be the sequestered jury. Okay. And you guys are the ones that think he's innocent. Okay. So these are the kinds of things I'm going to say to you. So do keep in mind, guys, that if you are wrong, if you're wrong, if just some part of you thinks, well, maybe he isn't 100% guilty, I'm just going to think that, and I'm going to vote not guilty. And then we find out that you're wrong. You have put a monster out on the street with no way to get him back in here, and he will kill again. Do you want to sleep with that? That's the kind of stuff the jury would have probably heard. What do you think?
Probably.
A lot of that kind of talk goes on. Sometimes they may even question each other. Why do you feel this way? And my thing was always, if they didn't prove something to me, then I have doubts. Period. And so the pressure was unreal. But they would come up with any way that they could to pressure you into voting the way they wanted it to go. And with this being the kind of case it was for me, I kind of got to wondering, did they already get a hold of these people somehow?
Yeah.
I reckon there would have been a lot of psychological trickery going on.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Dr. Silkman.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey.
Hi, Tony.
Good to have you join us.
Thank
I want
you.
to clear something up real quick before we go any further. Jeannie, love, Robert Novadine has been trying to explain to you, love, that Rick Mahler is not dead. He lives in Wisconsin and has a dad. So Robert's actually trying to show you that. No, he didn't.
We took care of it.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to make sure she knows. And we're not saying that Richard committed suicide. We're not even saying technically that we think he attempted.
Yeah.
We've heard a rumor that his language, the way he spoke, his verbiage was suicidal is all that we've heard. Okay.
And that's a
Nobody
rumor.
knows for sure. None of that is true.
Yeah, but we'll dig into that later. And yes, he's a great supporter of Steven, and he did believe Steven was innocent too, and he would have voted that way.
Well, he ran the first ever Facebook group.
Just a rumor. Yeah. It's just a rumor.
Oh, actually, the second Facebook group, maybe. One of the two.
Before we go any further, Dr. Silkman, can you kind of give us a hint of the EDTA thing you're working on?
Yes, I can. Essentially, and I took your advice as well, Rubber Ducky, I've decided to split my presentation into two. It was clearly too much information for one. And so just very, very quickly, what I do is I deep dive into the FBI's investigation of the blood swabs. I look at the EDTA results. I go through the protocol, the methodology, look at the conclusions. That's on that one. And then in part two, I give a possible planting scenario.
Ooh.
And the incredible thing is, it's really came out of the results that the FBI found. And I'm sure other people have worked it out too, but there was an actual very simple way to fool the FBI.
Guess what, Dr. Silkman?
Tell me.
There was a listener that was listening to the CASO, and she went and checked, and she found that the report, the evidence is that the box and everything for the PDF of this Hall box was a 031. But from what I'm understanding, this listener was explaining to me, now I'd have to verify because I just found this out today and I didn't check it, but she was explaining that the FBI reported on his ear 21. So I thought we should get Big Jeff on it because he's the expert on this type of stuff, and he's already answered back that he's on it. So he's going to go look it up and find out some details and bring back to tell us if they gave the FBI the correct item or not.
Right.
Well, he had found out that they had switched the name of the exact name of the other phone that was found in the ditch too.
Yeah, he found out one of them one of them doesn't even, one serial number that's posted as far as who wrote it out doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. One of the brands of phone or whatever. Yeah.
David Vinyl says, my personal belief is that most people would rather lock an innocent person up than let a guilty person go. What do you guys think on that?
That does make sense. It seems like it's
it seems like a logical answer, but
well, it's rather ironical, isn't it? Because that's what happened in the rape case, except the opposite happened, right? Yes, they did lock up an innocent man, but the guilty party was free to commit further rape and further assault. So, you know, that it's one of those situations whereby you can see what's happened. The law enforcement painted Steven Avery as a monster, you know, as an evil monster, and no one should care about him. You know, he's a despot. We're doing you all a service. You know, thank us later. Unfortunately,
they always paint him as a rapey monster.
Oh, no doubt. So therefore, no one in society should worry. We got the right man. What's your problem? Except, of course, he was exonerated, and that was extremely embarrassing.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got a really good comment here. So I want to talk about Cuss Road, obviously. So we all got together and we made the Cuss Road investigation, which came out to be basically us just taking the actual dispatch recordings of that time frame of November 7th, and everybody found pictures to match what was going on. Now, on Cuss Road, we have an immense amount of attention. You can see all kinds of vehicles, but PEP nails it. And this is the biggest question I have out of all the vehicles that respond. We've got DCI down there. We've got the Calumet County squad cars down there. We've got Manitowoc blocking it off at the Q, where Highway Q and all that's there. But, oops, let me get that out of the way so I can read. She wants to know, or he, APEP says, I wonder if an ambulance driver could be questioned in regards to what he or she remembers seeing out there. Why was an ambulance even called out there? Very, very interesting. So this was my biggest question. I've watched our own movie, the first time ever where I've watched one of our movies more than twice. So there are times when I just want to see if I have to edit it, so I have to watch it. Then I just play it through because I want to see how it flows. This one I actually watched probably 6 times, and I listened very closely. I paid close attention to detail. My biggest question is, why on earth would they want an ambulance out at Cuss Road?
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts at all on this? Any guesses, any theories, any comments?
I have none.
Do you want me to comment?
Yes.
Sure.
Well, if you're calling out an ambulance, it either means that someone is in severe distress or dead.
Well, usually if they're dead, they call the morgue.
Well, usually if they're dead, they'll call a coroner. But which coroner? Because they just said no to the coroner.
No, because they just kicked the person. So, you know.
They just kicked Deb Catch to the curb and said, you know what? I know that you're the county coroner. However, if you show up on this property, we'll arrest you. So, they may be, you've got a great point. In all other cases, they call a coroner. But in this case, why don't they just roll down an ambulance? It doesn't sound like they want the lights on.
I mean, am I wrong in thinking that they were supposed to call the coroner first?
It makes me picture like when I was a teenager and I was stealing the car out of the driveway and, roll it out of the driveway.
I think that does mean no lights. Roll it. I think they,
Don't draw any attention.
Don't roll it quietly.
Yeah.
I think you're right, BB. Sneak it on down here.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of nice to know, a huge compliment, because we shared some information tonight that helps some people that didn't even know about Cuss Road. So that's always good. It shows that, public awareness is working. Holly Sullivan says, I had never heard of Cuss Road recordings that you posted today. Shovel, ambulance, and Teresa's name being said in the background was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's kind of like the background with the cars over here.
It's like if I was making a movie and I was going to have the creepiest part play, that's it. I mean, if Steven Spielberg had done this, it couldn't have been more creepy to hear that name, because it's the last thing you're wanting to hear when they're getting, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, was she killed down here and they've left her body? Zellner is pointed out when she went to that place, she goes, this was a supposed alleged shallow grave. And she didn't discredit it. The reason she doesn't discredit that is because there's two events that happen with Cuss Road. And so many people go through, they read the first part, especially guilters, they use that, and that's it. They cut it off, just like it does. State of Wisconsin will give you one line out of a paragraph that suits their argument, and that's it. That's what the guilters do to Cuss Road. Because what happens is they're all called down to Cuss Road. They kick the dirt. They say, oops, that's a stump. It's actually a pallet, a rotten pallet with some plastic on it. It's nothing. Everybody go back to your station. And so the guilters say, see, told you, Cuss Road's nothing. They even say it wasn't relative to this case. Just let it go. Why are you harping? Well, because we actually read and we do our homework, and we read the whole paragraph. We read the whole couple pages. We've read 750 pages of the CASO. As a guilter, what have you read? So anyway, we were looking into it, and here to come, as you go down a few pages, literally like 3, I think, they get called back. And this time they are calling in an ambulance. They are calling in DCI. They're calling in DCI in the brown jackets. Oh yeah. They're calling in the Calumet Fire Department ambulance. They're bringing crime tape. They've got a cadaver dog that's hit on the back stoop of the Little Red Trailer. Another guilter point. Oh yeah, Little Red Trailer. Whose trailer do you think that is? Well, did you read where it said Dare Camp ran it? Because we have 2 trailers, because we know how to continue to read through and follow up on the progress. And there's 2 red trailers.
You know what's incredible, Rubber Ducky? Just interjecting. Someone had obviously done a flight over, because the photographs that you can see from November the 7th are incredible. So there must have been either a helicopter or a small plane that was constantly
I actually think
flying.
it might have been a news crew.
Okay.
One.
Well,
they had better photographs.
Yeah. Well, the pictures are. The
ones from the cops are terrible and shaky, like they're shot with a VHS. Yeah.
There was a lot of attention.
T1 nails it, in my opinion. Body bag. That's what I think they want from the ambulance.
That's highly possible.
That's my opinion only. It's not that I found anything to lead me to believe that.
I don't know if ambulance carry them or not.
Yes, they do.
I'm sure they would, though.
I know they do. I know they do.
Well, Chloe and I are of the same wavelength that the ambulance might have been called to take away the body and secretly transport it elsewhere.
Well, we didn't put it in the video. I chose not to put it in the video, which BB was encouraging me to do so, and I probably should have, but I purposely did not want us to be the one to insinuate that there's a body down there into the video. I just wanted to present the facts the way that they were saying it on there, and they never talked about a body, so I didn't put it in there. But now that we're in chat, we know about H1, we know about H2. It's over 90 photographs. It's actually over 100 total photographs if you add the two together. And these photographs had on Lynn Kaczynski's notes, he had written evidence list, H1, H2, and he wrote body, measurements, dig site, and salvage yard. And he didn't say what salvage yard, he didn't say how, near nothing. But what in the world are you going to measure? I mean,
A
really,
body, maybe.
yeah, a body. And then we see this behavior on Cuss Road, and they're blocking them off, not just a little ways down there. They're going all the way out to Queen Q, which is Highway Q. That's quite a ways. They don't want you anywhere, no one near that area.
Well, certainly something's happened there. Something big has happened there.
Okay, let's read some comments. Jeannie says, can you look up any accidents happened that day? That's a good thought. We can look into it. Hey, Jeannie, you're in the members club. How about you look it up and see? That's how we win. Okay. APAP, I also wonder if the police radio backup channels are recorded. I used to dispatch, and officers use backup channels a lot to chatter, not on the main air. Not sure if this small county worked that way. Oh my God, Pap, that would be amazing.
If there's anything underhanded that they could do, they've done it. So I would imagine yes.
Well, we've found that out to be true. Yeah.
Lisa says, did it sound like someone wrenching in the background at the 7:01 mark, or is it just me? Wrenching or retching? Lisa, clear that. Oh, retching, like they're vomiting.
Yeah, want to throw up.
That would mean a body. We need to do that. I want us to do that. So hold on,
what, Mark?
guys. Hold on. Let's
Okay,
go get that. I can play it. Let me find it. I've got it saved on here somewhere. I think I dropped it in the library under Cuss Road. Let me go to the library. And that you guys can tell me the mark in a minute. I want to listen. Okay, so Zoe redid the
year first. Yeah.
So I'm going to evidence files, and I'm going to go to maps and locations. And then I'm going to go, I think it's actually under maps. I don't think Cuss is under there. I think it's maps. I should probably move it. Cuss Road. And then there should be audio. Here we go. Now, we did put the clip. We did put the actual audio clip where it came from. We put the link in the video for you so that it goes back to the person that actually recorded it, so that they get a thumb up or something. So let's see if how do I play it?
I don't know.
What did I do? Just save a screenshot? It was like 3 in the morning. Maybe I just saved a screenshot of it. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. I was on the picture of it. Okay, 7:00 what? Wait. 7:00 what? Do you guys know? I'll look. Give me just a minute. I got too many windows open.
I'm trying to find it.
Well, about the 7:01 mark.
Yeah.
7:01?
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe start at 7 minutes.
All right. Let's see if I can get back to it. All right. Let's see. Where's 7 at? Whoops. Okay. Play. What? Can't I fast forward it? All right. Here we go. Almost there, guys. All right. How about we start it at 6:55?
That works.
That's better. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't hear it. Did y'all? Okay, hold on. I started it back a ways.
Nope, it's cut out on the YouTube too. You can't hear it all the way.
Okay. There is a weird sound on there. I don't know what it is, but it does sound like somebody barfed. I can't guarantee it though. I'd have to like listen to it closer. But you guys, you can find it in the library. It's under maps, and then you go to Cuss Road, and then it'll say audio. And
if you all find markers in this audio, I'll try to go through and analyze it, and I can isolate that area and maybe stretch it out or amplify it and remove background noise.
That'd be great. Will you kind of work on that one? It's a little before 7:01 for me, I think. I want to say it was even like 6:53 or something.
Well, what I'll do
I heard
once I go through it and I separate or isolate an area, then what I'll do is just send it to you, a link. You can put it wherever you want.
Okay.
But it'll be some time. Yeah.
All right. That'll work. Cool. Chloe says ambulance might have been called to take away the body and secretly transport it somewhere else to burn it. Or did they burn it right there on the road? I mean, we have that dark mark, you guys. I'm just saying.
And we have a picture without the dark mark.
Yeah, but when you look at the bigger pictures, I don't know about you guys, but the listeners especially, I want to know, didn't it look like it was a burnt out vehicle to you guys?
In one picture, yes, it did.
It's 3D. It looked almost like, Lily, weren't you saying to you had thought it looked like one of the vehicles that are there?
Yeah, it looked like one of the black trucks that was there. They just kind of parked where,
like an SUV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's very possible that, because they don't alleviate our suspicions, our mind does wander. Why do you need an ambulance? Well, you're going to haul something away that you don't want everybody to look at. Well, if it's just electronics, why would they call it ambulance?
Yeah, and don't forget, the area that they roped off is significantly large.
Not only that,
it's not a small area, it's large.
Not only that, but you guys, what I was going to say earlier, the cadaver dog hit on the back stoop. Now, they only alert to blood and deceased. I mean, that's it. So they're not alerting if it's alive. If it's a cadaver dog, it's just smelling blood.
I think that they what triggers them or sets them off is the decomposition, right?
Well, or blood.
Well, that blood would too. Blood outside your body would be decomposing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now the cadaver dog hits on the back stoop of the little red trailer at deer camp. They state that they're at deer camp. They state barrel. We hear that clearly. And they also say cell phone. Now, they've got that all going on there. But the cadaver dog then takes his leader, he takes his worker all the way down to Cuss Road from deer camp on a steady trail, intent. He gets to the crime lab tape and he's trying hard to go over. He's pressing so hard on the worker that she says when she's told, no, you call the sheriff. This dog is intent. The Sheriff Vogel is called and he says, no, can do. It's a crime scene. The dog can't cross. So if it's not a crime scene, why can't the dog go there?
Well, and if it is a crime scene, don't you want the cadaver dog there?
Well,
it depends.
Yeah.
It depends on what. It depends on what was present. They're calling it a suspected burial site. That's suspicious in itself, and you can see that there's like a service road that leads from Steven Avery's trailer all the way down to where the end of Cuss Road is. And so someone, Yep. So someone could have had easy access to Steven Avery's trailer, that area there, and Cuss Road and the deer camp.
And to get the RAV in as well, honestly.
Correct.
It's
the back
all
way.
Yeah, but that's a slightly different road, though. I think that one.
Well, it all comes off the same T, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And I did have one innocent thought why they might have wanted an ambulance. If one of the police officers might have hurt themselves and maybe needed stitches or something, they might have, I don't know. That's the only thing. Yeah, that's the only thing I could come up with. I don't know how accurate that would be. I think they'd want EMTs then. Yeah,
I think at this point, BB, if it was somebody injured, then it was because they were moving the RAV and they left their bloody handprint on the back. It's not something that they're injured like because they're not, I mean, they're wanting to, like you said, like they're stealing a car. It's like, can you roll that down here?
Yeah, they're being very, very
it was very weird the way he worded it. Yes.
Yeah.
I found that extremely sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to me, it in a lot of their the recordings I'm listening to, they're being very careful what they say.
Oh,
yeah.
Code.
Yeah.
193 to code. 193 code. Yeah.
And with, send the ambulance down this way. Tony went and tried to cut his finger off. They would have done that if
they would have said, yeah, we have an injury on site here. Could you get that ambulance down here as soon as possible? As soon as possible. They're not going to be like, yeah.
Are we using it? Can it get rolled down here?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, and most police cars have got a little kit that's got bandages and things like that. So if you're calling an ambulance, it's serious, really serious.
Yeah. Well, and you got to also think about this. They're pulling out buckets of debris from Randit Deer Camp, and they talk about bones coming from there. Now we're hearing them say electronics are coming from there. When we look at Cuss Road, they explain they tell you we're parked out there on the circle, but we're on the edge of the property. What property? We only have one property there. The only property that we have would be Randit's. How do we know it's Randit? Because they're calling Josh Randit to come down there. He's excluded from everybody else. Him and the crime lab are the only two getting through. So we know we're at Deer Camp. We see the three individuals. They're hunkered down with the white bucket. They're saying, bring a shovel. This is looking like this is where it may have occurred.
Yeah. But doesn't that give you a clue? The other possibility that I don't think anyone's mentioned is that if we're speculating that Teresa Hallbark was burnt in a burn barrel, what about her internal organs being found? And that's why they need. That's why they. That's why they need.
You're a doctor, and so you can talk. I said you're a doctor, so you can talk like that. But you made me woozy. Okay. I mean, my head got woozy for a second because I can't do that. I have to stay on some paper or I get really woozy. I was able to pass out medicine, but when the nurse would have me come in to help her do something like change a bandage, she would put me, to tell you the truth, this is the truth, she'd put me between the wall and the bed. Do you know why? Because I'd pass out and end up on the patient's feet every time.
Well, the fact of the matter is, this would have been one messy deal, period.
I agree. I definitely agree. So you've got a valid point. It's starting to look like that this person's body has been spread out. We've got bones in multiple locations.
Yeah.
We obviously have electronics that, okay, let's just hit this point. Okay, for guilters that are tuning in, because we do have a few that are respectful, that just listen. So I would like you to go to bed tonight, and I would like you to think about this. How in the world did the victim's teeth burn up completely, but yet we can still tell what kind of plastic phone she had? Just asking. Okay. Holly would like to say, and she's got a good point here. I think we should listen. I think we've addressed it a little bit. because of the coroner deal, but let's review it a little bit. Unless whatever they found was not deceased for a long period of time, you would want a medic to try and perform life-saving efforts, right? Otherwise, you'd call for coroner. I think if they were performing life-saving measures, in my humble opinion, you would have been like, ASAP, get our ambulance here. We've got a 911, bop, 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 and they'd move with it. Because if they're finding somebody that has very shallow life signs, they only have minutes.
He was real casual about it. He was like, are we like using our ambulance at all?
Right.
And they were like, no, we're not. And then he's like, can you roll it down here then?
Yeah, he was slow.
Yeah, if they were calling for an ambulance to try and save someone's life that had even the slightest sign of life left, there would have been a whole lot more. You would think there would have been
we need an ambulance down here, not are we using it? Wait
much
for an answer.
Don't forget, guys, the victim had 2 bullet holes in their head. Yeah, there's no
right.
there's no signs of life there, guys. This is a final.
You really bring up the key points, I'll tell you.
The important thing to realize is, look, there's a lot of activity in that spot. What really makes me highly suspicious was when Ken Kratz was questioning Andy Colburn. You could tell it, and Ken Kratz was questioning him about Cuss Road, the events at Cuss Road. You could tell that Colburn was very, very uncomfortable and took a long time to answer his questions. Basically, he trivialized the events of Cuss Road and basically said, nothing to see here. But you could see that he was very uncomfortable, especially if they found either remains, body parts. Don't forget, guys, 60% of the skeleton has never been found, right? Only 40% has been recovered.
That's right.
So potentially you may have parts of her remains strewn out over a large area, and the dogs went crazy. Now, where have you ever seen an investigation where you get dogs that have specific sense, right? They detect certain things, and an investigator says to the owner of the dogs, sorry, you can't come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
It is completely insane.
Especially when the dog wants to go there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, correct. That is insane. That's what that dog was there for, to do.
Yeah.
And how many photographs have you seen of that partial burial site?
None.
Only from an extreme distance.
Yeah.
Right? And they said, Colburn said, oh, we saw a little bit of plastic sticking up from under the ground. Well, aren't we speculating that Teresa Hallbach was placed in a tarp?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And if you wrap somebody up that's been very badly injured, you've got blood. And what do these dogs detect?
Blood.
There you go.
Crockett, how are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Let's see. I think that's one interesting. Oh, my computer just jumped big time. Okay, got to back up. Woo. Okay. Drones are news. Ginny says it could be the news. I don't know that we had drones in 2005. I don't think we did.
Not sure.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They don't look like drone shots to me. They're something that's very, very high up. Can I just...
like helicopter.
T-Bone asked a really good question.
Okay.
How do we know the bullet fractures happened while she was alive? We don't.
Right.
Yeah, that's my thought on it, is that they were put there later.
Yeah, we do not know.
For all we know, they could have just found skull somewhere over at, and I don't know that this was ever true, but there was rumors that Hotel Hell, which was that big, castle-like motel over there that we went to, that there was bones found and stuff. I've never really been able to find that that's true, but I've heard a lot about it, so it makes you wonder. So they're at this point, they could have just found somebody else's skull at this point, then and shot it and put it over there. I mean,
that's what I kind of think might have happened.
Such
so that way they could say it was Steve's gun that did it.
So Chloe says, and such a great point, that Lynn Kaczynski's notes mention that photographs of the body were taken because, body measurements, dig site. What do we need in this case? A shovel. Really makes you wonder. You got Colburn down on this call. He's a photographer at the case.
I think Colburn's camera and all his images that he took need to be subpoenaed because I think they would tell what happened. They'll tell the chronology of the story.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they were taken with disappearing film.
Correct. You're right.
Larry states that in the state of Washington, only a coroner can carry a body bag. That is really a good...
I really don't think they're in ambulances.
Are you sure?
I really don't think that they are.
Okay. I could be wrong. The only time that I've known of that happening, I was personally knew the person, and so I wasn't really paying attention. I just must have thought that they got it out of there, but I could be totally wrong. Friends of mine had drunk driving, and that's all it is one
but
time.
I really don't believe that they carry him because they're not allowed to move the body.
Right. Okay.
But there may not have been a body.
It might not have been a body.
But they're still not allowed to move it, so I don't think they carry body bags.
Well,
because they'd have to get the coroner there to do that, so why would they need the body bag?
I think that's a great point. I think those are all excellent points. Debbie said, thank you for all that you do, Rubber Ducky. You have a beautiful heart. Thank you, Debbie. I think you guys do too. And I thank you guys for all that you do. I mean, I could be talking blue in my face, but to have the researchers actually get the validation for it all, for you guys to share it all, it takes all of us. So T1, great point again. You do not ask for an ambulance to revive a dead stump. Amen. Pass the butter. Nailed it again. 2 for T1. Ooh.
T1 asks another excellent question as well about the, he says that Teresa Hallbach's bloodstains do not look bad enough for head wounds due to gunshots. I agree. She wasn't shot and then placed in the back of the RAV. She was shot later on. But I believe she was knocked out by either a hammer or some blunt instrument.
It's a tire iron.
Yeah,
can I stir the pot a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, they're talking about a shooting. Do you know that one of the witness reports is stated as them seeing this RAV4 out on the highway with not bullet holes, but holes in the windshield and the side window. So
that is true. Irvin Koenig had called in to a local TV station, and they came up and they interviewed him, and he said exactly that there was a hole in the driver window and in the windshield. Well, then you hear him call back later. He calls Calumet, or was it Manitowoc, BB?
I think it's the other one. Isn't he neighbors with Carmen?
Yeah, he's the same guy. And he's neighbors, and
so it's whatever town Carmen's.
Mishcot.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, so this guy that's done this, he's made mention that he'd seen this vehicle and all this, and then he calls the cops, the dispatch.
Actually, his friend calls the cops for him because he's all wound up.
Right. Oh, that's right. So his friend calls up, and they're all frantic. They're older guys. Well, I told him to keep his mouth shut, and now people are coming. He is nervous. Oh yeah. There's something weird there. So
he could be the information that Kitty Corner from Carmen Botwell's or something.
I'm just want to put it out there. All this information can be found, and people really need to start digging deep because it's there and the signs are there. There's a lot of stuff there that backs up this whole theory of this being a big giant framing. But I'm telling you, people, you've got to dig because there is stuff there.
There's a lot. The thing is that in this case, the more people that dig, we seem to be like little. Have any of you ever seen like that Disney movie about ants? And they've got these big locusts bullying them all the time, but then the ants get smart.
Yeah.
And they all start figuring out how to work it where every single person has their own little deal they do, and they win. Hands down, they win the impossible. That's what we're doing. So the more of you that get on board, the more pieces of the puzzle are coming out.
Yeah, please come and help us. Come over to Discord.
So there's even raises more questions about why people talk about there being more than one RAV. Because why aren't there pictures if someone was shot in a RAV, why aren't there pictures, crime scene pictures, in situ pictures, anything to indicate that someone bled out in a car because they were shot in the head? And that's the one place you're going to bleed the most.
Yeah. There's a lack of blood in that RAV that we see in the Avery salvage yard. That's the issue.
I'd say 1 tube, maybe 2 at best. Well, 1 little tube of blood.
So I want to read 2 things that Chloe said because she makes 2 very good points. Number 1, no dogs allowed. That's a big thing. Number 2, no coroners allowed. Do you get the point? All right, she says, if an ambulance does not carry body bag, they can still secretly transport a body. The goal is to keep the coroner away. See, she's right. She's right. That's their goal. They don't want to bring a coroner in, and they don't want somebody that knows about dead. They don't want dogs learning that it's dead. They don't want anybody to know that what they have is possibly dead. What's going to be dead? Either cremains, something that they're going to measure, and they're going to take pictures like you wouldn't believe. This answers all of your questions because we've always said, well, why didn't they take pictures of the bones in their original site? They did. They're H1 and H2, in my opinion, and I think it's connected right here at Cuss Road.
And they're not on the Avery salvage yard. That's the problem.
Correct.
They're not there.
And they also won't let anybody FOIA.
No.
Right.
The H1 and H2.
Jeannie, yeah, if you want to look that up, I think that'd be great to look up that if you want to take some time and do that and just put it in the members area like you did for the researchers on the Cuss Road investigation. That would be good. Lily posted for you guys the Steven Avery Library. It is going under change. It's being streamlined and made user-friendly, and we're getting ready to start working on the framework of our app and such. So we want to get the library set up first, that it connects really easy to the app.
And Dr. Sookman has a blog over there, doesn't he?
He will have.
I do. Well, coming up.
Yeah.
Soon to come. What we're going to do is
an interactive blog.
Yes, it's going to be nice. It'll be case related, of course. Please don't ask him, I think I have a mark on my hand. I took a picture. What do you think it is? Don't do that.
I had this rash. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll talk to you about that later. So
yeah. We don't want to have him emailed, I have this rash, or can you take a look at this kind of stuff? But case-related questions, of course, are very welcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are getting ready for the app. And what we're doing is we're streamlining the library. We're getting the way that we're working the videos is to get that a little bit easier for us as well to do. As well as we're getting our Twitter kind of realigned a little bit, because what the app does is it makes a Rubber Ducky community for you guys. So when you go in there, you've got your, if Zellner has said anything, you've got any type of new information that's come to light. You'll have the Twitter feed. You'll have the Facebook group that we have on there. Also, you won't have to worry about Discord as much, because guess what? You'll be able to push a button. It'll take you right into the puddle chat. So a lot more people will be able to do that. And you'll be able to wander through all the vaults in the library with a lot more ease. So it's going to be an incredible thing. And I've always said that our channel, even though we do focus right now solely basically on Stephen and Brendan, our channel will be, in the near future, will be broadening out to cover many other cases. So I will tell you that we have 2 cases that we're looking at that could be related, and their unsolved serial killer case. And so Zoe's also working on that besides doing the library. So everybody's very busy on our channel. Let's see. T1, dark mark appears to be a dumped burn barrel from deer camp, in my opinion. I've thought that a couple times, that those look like burn barrels. What do you guys think? Do you think?
Well, there's those weird circles off to the side that look like they just dumped them one at a time and then sat them aside.
That picture I've looked at so much from so many different sources that it the best source that I could find, it made it seem to look like some kind of an SUV, maybe.
I don't know, Lily, didn't you think it kind of looked like a burnt car? I kind of thought it looked like a burnt car on that one close-up picture. Maybe it's two different things.
I did. I thought it might have been a burnt out car, but I don't know exactly.
Yep. You got to be careful with using low resolution type images.
True.
Because they can completely throw you off track.
Well,
none of those are good enough to make a determination on that.
Correct. Yep.
True. Also, we have to remember that it's the center of the eye of the needle. So what I'm meaning is they could have had something there, moved it, something else gets put there, they do something. It's like the table, the middle of the table, in a sense. All the action's going to happen in the middle. So we could be looking at pictures that are of different views. This could have happened then. They took a picture of it, such as you see they're all standing around down there. They've got the cop car at the end of the cul-de-sac. They have the other cars around, and they're all doing something, but you don't see any darkness on the road at all. But then in another picture, you see the darkness. So it could be that different pictures are reflecting different activities.
Yep.
Let's see, maybe.
And the fact that they only give us bad photos.
Yeah, T1 says not dirt, but burn barrel contents. Very well could be. Very well could be.
Yeah, it seems rather bizarre, though, that they would tip burn barrel contents on a road. You would think they would put it on a tarp to preserve what's ever there, whatever is in there. You wouldn't want to place it directly on a road. And don't forget, the weather could turn nasty at any time and start raining. Yeah, that's going to look pretty bad.
Plus, I would think it would look more ashy and lighter colors.
Yeah.
But Dr. Silkman, you're talking from the perspective, I'm guessing, that your goal is to solve the case.
Well,
you forgot.
Properly solve it.
Wait, you forgot. We're in the Steven Avery case. This is where
only things that matter are the things that point to Steve.
Yeah. In the Steven Avery case, they find a body, they measure it, they mark down dig site, and then the only person that they tell is Lynn Kaczynski, the worst lawyer in the world. So, yeah.
That's good.
Lynn Meow Kaczynski.
Oh, Lordy. Jeannie says, I can't find any reports about Cuss Road from law enforcement. Well, no, Silkman, didn't you say there was one? There was trial? There was Colburn talking to Kratz?
Yeah, Kratz basically was interrogating Colburn about the events that took place at the end of Cuss Road. And basically, the impression I got was that Colburn was incredibly uncomfortable. You have to watch the little clip. It really is very revealing. And essentially, he trivialized the events of Cuss Road, that in the end, it was nothing. However, remember, they did spend all day down there. Investigators that were on the salvage yard were called to that spot. So they had to stop what they were doing, and they were subpoenaed or called to that spot. And there is a lot of activity at the end of Cuss Road. Now, no one's going to send 10 to 20 people down to a place where it's a false lead.
At one point, they call everybody off of Avery, so you could be talking like maybe up to 20, 100, whatever,
Well, also, Pagel himself, the sheriff, he said it. He said the dogs can't come down here because it is a crime scene.
Correct.
And that was after they had all been sent away and now were brought back. And we also have some activity, not just at Cuss Road, but also at deer camp. So let me remind you that they're at Randit Deer Camp. They're bringing Josh there, and they say burn barrel and cell phone. And then we have the three
and debris, burn barrel, cell phone, and debris.
And debris. And they need investigators to look at the items. And we have two squatting police officers and one person standing with one of the squatters has a bucket. And what are the bones being? What are we finding? Buckets all over the place for transporting bones. Now, we don't know if they're human bones that they're finding. We don't know if they're animal bones. But we can darn sure betcha that if they're finding electronics being burnt down there and you're hearing them say, Teresa Halbach, and can you call this number? Blah, blah, blah. We're not talking about, a Fisher Price phone here. We're talking about this is the girl's cell phone, or at least a victim's cell phone. I can't say whose because I don't know anymore. T1 says, top-notch investigation faux show.
Thank you.
Yeah, if your notch is on the floor. Oh, I tell you. Now, Chloe says she thinks that they found a burned car with a partial burnt body. And again, could be. Very well could be. That would make sense why they're measuring something. But call the ambulance in case. Gotcha. Lisa says, Chloe, so completely possible for this crew. Yeah. Susan Sims, welcome. It says, if they had her partially burnt body, Teresa's DNA would have been all over Stephen's property. I don't think they had access to her body other than bones. So let's talk about that. Let's say it's not a body. Let's say they found the original burn site of the bones. That would make more sense because that's a very valid point. If they're planting the key, they're already in Stephen's bedroom. So if they are planting the key, which I personally believe they already know they're risking putting their own DNA in the room. So they're going to have to be the one to find it. That way they could justify cross-contamination instead of nefarious, reasoning. So we know they're not afraid to plant. If we're going this theory, they would have planted her hair, her blood, whatever, fingernail. If she's dead, pull a fingernail off, put it in Stephen's room. That's all it takes. So I do feel that that's a very
but what does that tell you, Rubber Ducky?
That is probably
it tells you that there was nothing that they could salvage except bones.
Right.
Otherwise, you're correct. You are 100% correct. They would have used other items like hair, like a nail, something, but there was nothing. There couldn't have been anything.
Yeah.
But bones.
Jeannie says, anyone find that burn marks on the road are extremely black and can contain to one spot? Yeah, that is a very dark.
Yeah, I think if it was burn barrel ash, it would be lighter in color. I think they had to burn something black, like a rubber mat out of a back of a rab, or a tire, or a piece of a tire.
It does. Yeah, it does appear as
because it's blacker than the road.
Burned up right there. Yeah.
It's blacker than the road. Whenever I dump my fire pit, it's always like gray ashy.
Right.
That's true.
It would be lighter than the road.
If they used, we're missing, and this is not my opinion. This is a fact. When you look at the back of the RAV, you can see where the blood stains on the sidewall of the passenger side in the very back of the cargo area have run down onto the floor, and there's a direct straight line and it stops. And we all know that would mean a mat is there. Then when you look over to the other side, you can actually see the layout of the mat exactly where it was, and brand new clean carpet underneath, because that mat has always been there in this vehicle and it's missing. It's gone. Now, if anybody has ever used one of these vehicles that has these mats, they have a black, heavy rubber, and I mean heavy. That's why they stay in place when you're pulling stuff in and out of your trunk all the time. So these are black plastic rubbery mats, and they've got weight to them. What better way? She's already going to be bleeding. The victim's already going to be bleeding, passing blood all over this mat. So it's complete risk of discovering her and you and all this. And so what would you do? In my opinion, you would roll that mat around that body and then go stuff it in the barrel, burn it, and then lay it out on the ground so that you make sure you get every bit of it burnt. And then it appears that somebody has actually went to the full length. You can't accuse this killer of not following through because, boy, he is crushing these bones somehow. There is so little tiny fragments of bones.
Well, in my theory, they bring the cremated bones out there. They burn it with something black to make the bones appear black so they don't look like they came from the crematorium.
And you're talking about Carmen Botwell because that was the day, if you figure this out, now that in past times I've heard Gilter say, well, it couldn't happen this way because Carmen actually had her funeral was held. Now, some people aren't from this country and they don't always understand the American customs. So what we do in America is a lot of the Americans will display the body in like a church or a funeral home or even their own home in a casket. And then after the people have paid their respects, then the body will be taken away to be cremated. And that's what happened with Carmen Botwell on the 8th. So if we're, a lot of the people are challenging saying, well, that proves that if we found bones on the 7th, that it could not have been Carmen Botwell. But that's not true, because as gruesome as this is going to sound, a way around that would be you've got her body back on the 4th. It's done. Autopsy's finished. The body is being given to the funeral home. The funeral home is owned by the same deputy that was one of the arresting officers of Steve Avery in 1985. Now, if you think, well, that's a long time ago, why would you even consider him? He probably doesn't even work for the force anymore. You're right. He's retired. But the day the 7th, he comes out of retirement and he works an 11-hour shift, not as just a worker. He leads the entire force. Talk about conflict of interest. Now, let me ask you, if you have a casket that only shows the top half of the body, you got a magic trick here. How easy would it have been to take the other part, which is the pelvic bones, down there, and you've got BB's scenario, her theory, where he's now got the bottom half of her, and it's got to get disposed of to keep him out of the risk. So in order, like I said earlier, in order for him to negate any suspicion of his DNA, like how would you justify his DNA being on the victim's bones if he wasn't there at the investigation? He covers himself by leading the investigation so that if later his DNA comes up on those bones, he can say, well, I guess I cross-contaminated them. So that's a thought. That's the theory if we're talking about if she's alive, and that would be Carmen's bones. Or somebody else's too.
Remember, it's very unlikely going to leave DNA on bones, especially if they're cremated.
Fingerprints.
Yeah, but I would dare say that we'll all be wearing gloves.
I don't think they're going to fingerprint them, though. Yeah.
No, they're not.
I'm talking about you're doing the investigation yourself, and you're bringing back a bucket of bones. If your hair fell out at the crime scene, but you aren't supposed to be there, you're retired, you're at home. How did Dr. Sookman's hair get on this bone? Well, he owns the crematory. That's strange. All right, but if you're working there, it's quite easy to say, well, I must have scratched my head and the hair fell
Yeah,
off. It just makes it easier. Gives him more leeway, cover itself. Because I know he wouldn't be leaving it on the bones, but the buckets?
Yep. There's something definitely happened down at the end of Cuss Road, and Does Bushman ever get called up to the trial?
No.
I don't know.
No.
And he worked 2 days, didn't he?
Yep.
He was actually there 2 days.
Yep.
Wasn't he?
No, I think he was there. I know he was there the 7th, and I think he was there the 8th as well.
Right, but he never gets called up in the trial, correct?
No.
Does he ever write a report?
No.
Not that I've ever seen.
Right. Well, there's your orchestra. He's
Leader.
the person that oversees everything, and he's in a prime position. If any type of planting is going to take place or hiding stuff, it goes through Bushman, because A, he doesn't get caught up to trial. 2, he's not writing any extensive reports. So in other words, everything is deep dived, a deep six. You know nothing. What do? They keep the dogs out. Now, was any press permitted to go on that site?
No.
No press was permitted. So therefore, you've got essentially a sterile crime scene. So all you do is you tell everyone whatever you saw here, you keep it secret. You never let it out. That's it.
Right.
That's it. So you can cover up. You can cover up what occurred at that site, no problems.
Then blue line.
Yep. That's it.
Chloe says Casey said no blood on bullet, so maybe there never was a shooting in the head.
Well, it surely didn't come from Steve's gun anyway,
No,
if there was.
Correct.
Steve's gun is not capable of doing that.
Could have been Kratz's fantasy, she says. T1 says, RAV4, TH bloodstains do not look bad enough for head wounds due to gunshots. We went over that. Okay. I'm just trying to catch up. A few things. Holly Sullivan says, a few things. Lynn's notes clearly say body Cuss Road. True. If they find a body intact that doesn't show up clear signs of rigor mortis, but they may have not known what they were going to do. So there could be the ambulance, Lyra says maybe she's actually buried at her family's land. It would explain the Hallbox reaction, just a thought. Lynn says, hi, nice to see you all. Hi, Linda. I said Lynn, I meant Linda.
Yeah.
Holly also says calling a medic in to call a patient may have been an option they were considering. Just like Carmen having EKG stickers on it, they call a medic even though they know she's deceased. True. I did get that pointed out that there was somebody, I can't remember who, I'd love to give you credit, but it was like 2 months ago. And somebody told me that their husband was an EMT. And that even
I think that's who you just read the comment from.
Okay, it might be Holly. Yeah. So if a person, when they go to the ambulance, EMTs arrive and the person's dead, a lot of times they'll still put the EKG tabs on them in case they decide to do life-saving measures or something. It can happen to a dead person too. So that doesn't mean that Carmen was alive when she left her house, which is what I had previously thought. So I want to make sure I clear that up as I learned too. So T1 says, great point on body bags, but ambulance is definitely a large enough vehicle that they controlled to possible move body or cremains without causing very much of attention on the scene. True. Chloe says maybe TH shot in RAV4 by turnaround, thrown in back of the RAV, brought elsewhere, buried, and car torched to hide evidence. Who knows? Like Eric Cozy was saying the other night, we got Xander's Road, and we've got several witnesses stating that they're smelling and they're hearing and seeing flames of a significant fire, and they're smelling this weird smell that they can't quite place. Who knows what they were burning? Lacey Anna 88. If only the correct coroner could have been the person who came to the scene first. Can you imagine what we could have found out? How did they get away with that? That tells you that tells you there it was a setup. Yeah. The fact that they want, no pictures that they're going to share with us of the original site. They're not going to share us, and the real truth is, you guys, that when you look at this case, everything that Ken Kratz says, hey, that's not important. That's what is important. So he said that about the bones in the quarry. Look how important
Correct.
those are.
Yep.
He's
Yep.
saying that about Cuss Road. Nothing important, nothing to see here. Again, something to see here, I'm telling you.
But you
Go
know,
ahead.
but that, in my opinion, that puts Kratz straight in the middle of everything. He's not a clean skin. He's got to know what actually had occurred. He had to have.
Well,
he even says a shady comment later on somewhere on Facebook, maybe, or Twitter, years later, just within the last 3 years or whatever. What is it? If you assume that Teresa Halbach died on the 31st.
Mm-hmm.
right.
Remember that comment? Yeah, that weird.
He said,
Yeah.
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 I still remember when something sticks with me for years, like a certain, like 2 sentences, it's usually because they just don't sit right with me. And I just can't digest them as part of the game. And something, the 2 comments that stick to me the hardest in the series was when Kratz says in trial, if, Your Honor, if the defense is suggesting that Teresa Halbach is alive, we have the right to know that. And I was like, oh my God. That's a weird thing to say in this case. That is very strange. And then the defense is like, oh, no, no, no. We are, Your Honor, we are not. We are not. Why is why is Ken Kratz reacting that way? What?
Well, the thing is, he
Yeah.
got caught out.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't get to see that few seconds right before it. So you don't know the context that brought him to that statement. I want to know what that is. It's got to be in the testimony or the trial somewhere.
It's to do with the phone records, right? And basically, someone was either checking their SMSs, their messages, or someone was getting access to their messages at a time that Teresa was meant to be dead. And so Ken Kratz could not answer the question, was she still alive? And that's the issue. So I think it was November the 2nd. And, he got caught out.
I'd like to point out one little thing. Ken Kratz and everybody distanced themselves from saying, let's face it, she died on Halloween.
Correct.
Nobody ever uses the word Halloween.
Correct.
So if there was some kind of club,
that's a whole other rabbit hole for me. Yeah.
Yeah, like Dave Pagoda says, then, they're trying to distance themselves from the satanic aspect of this.
Yeah. One of the investigators, I think, that spoke with Brendan, actually had put satanic, wrote the word satanic down. So isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it kind of goes along with this club for me.
Yeah.
As far as the whole idea.
Well, and the whole thing of Halloween,
Yes.
And if you know anything about all of that stuff, their Halloween is very, very significant to them.
Yes.
And requires sacrifices and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I just wanted to point that out, that they sanitized that,
Correct.
They didn't want to touch that aspect with a 10-foot pole.
That has we've never focused on that, but it is an aspect that is there that we do research.
But that's a deep rabbit hole, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Absolutely. It is.
That's a deep one.
But they're trying to make Steve so evil, so why wouldn't they just, be like,
yeah, that's true.
Satan made him do it. Yeah, I don't know.
It was the devil.
I'm done with that. Just had that floating around my head. I had to get it out.
Yeah. But just getting back to Bushman, basically he controlled what was happening down there. So he controlled what went in, what went out, and everything is encapsulated. It's a black hole. No one knows. We don't know.
Well, and he also had everybody pulled off at Avery's, except for the guy who was like guarding the barrels or something.
Yep.
And the guy who's guarding the barrels later winds up being Mike Hollenbach's relative.
Yeah. Now, didn't they find a burn barrel at the deer camp?
Yeah, one of them's labeled deer camp. Yes.
And now, how easy would it be to simply shift that burn barrel and put it on the Avery property?
Well, especially when they were playing that shell game with, what was it, barrel number 4 or whatever, where they
Number
took
2.
it to the crime, where they took
I
it to
think
the
it was
crime
number
lab,
2.
put it back on the trailer, and then took it back out to Avery's, and then turned around and hauled it back to the crime lab again.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that was so they could switch up barrels.
Yeah.
That looks like the shell game to me.
Well, that's rather interesting because that's one of my that's one of my topics that I cover in my new presentation about a shell game. So it's interesting that it appears that a lot of shell games took place
during this, like little teeny ones here, there, yeah.
Yes.
They switched the names of the phones. They, yeah, just
very easy to do.
Getting this whole idea of, you know, the mention of Halloween is not there.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's weird.
Yeah,
especially since we're supposed to make Steve so
significant.
evil, you know, the worst crime ever committed, the worst criminal. Oh, yeah, you know, everything about him so evil. Oh, he drew maps and had torture chambers planned and underground rooms and all this stuff, but they never, ever bring Halloween up. Or that he wants to have a bonfire on Halloween or anything.
Yep. Everything had to look nefarious.
It's always the 31st. It's never Halloween.
Yep.
I just find that strange. It just floats around my head every once in a while.
Yep. So essentially what we have are two parallel stories taking place. What really happened to Teresa Hallbark, and we don't know, and then the framing and setup of Steven Avery. And so you've got two parallel stories happening. And if you control all the evidence, you can write any story you want. Do you agree?
Yeah.
If you got the evidence,
look at all us with all our different theories of,
correct.
You know.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that people need to know that this information is out there. If you ever get a chance, you can watch some more of these Rubber Ducky videos. But on here, she tries to spread out the knowledge that there are documentation on each and everything for each and every day. We have continued to find more and more and more, and more continues to keep coming out. There are some FOIAs being rejected as of right now. We don't know exactly, we know some of the items, and we don't know the exact reason why. But even all of these ordinary citizens out here can put in their own FOIAs.
Yes.
Yeah.
It costs money.
If you find that there's nothing out there that you're looking for, that there's something specific you're after,